Good morning, guys. So we're going to continue on with your lesson today. We are on page 126 in your grammar books. Yesterday we talked about nouns as subjects, and today we're going to talk about some of the other jobs that nouns can do and the rules that go along with those. Just a quick note before we get started. I've noticed that some of you guys have gone ahead and done your assignments for the whole week, which is great. That's fine. Just make sure that you are understanding the material. If there's something that you don't understand, please reach out to me over Google Classroom. I can give you my cell phone number, or you can watch the video and see if that will help, and then go back and redo your work. It's up to you, but I just wanted to throw that in there. Okay, so on to page 126. Using nouns as predicate nominatives. There are two kinds of complements that follow linking verbs. So we're talking about linking verbs, okay? Predicate nominatives and predicate adjectives. And today we're going to talk about predicate nominatives. A predicate nominative is a noun or a pronoun that follows a linking verb and renames or explains the subject. The noun or pronoun means the same thing or person as the subject. The example in your book says, Mr. Hurley is our coach. Coach is a noun that means the same person as the subject, Mr. Hurley. A good note to take is that you can replace the linking verb with the word equals. So let's look at the board. For example, Ezra was a ready scribe. We could make this was an equal sign and say Ezra equals scribe. And that's how you know that it is your predicate nominative. Another thing, predicate nominatives can never be in a prepositional phrase. So, for example, Deuteronomy is the last book of the Pentateuch. Of the Pentateuch is your prepositional phrase. It is going to be very helpful for you moving forward if you can spot those prepositional phrases, because sometimes it makes it easier if you can take it out of the sentence to find what you're looking for. So let's take of the Pentateuch out of the sentence, since we know that our predicate nominative cannot be in that prepositional phrase. Deuteronomy is the last book. So Deuteronomy is what? Book. Deuteronomy equals book. Therefore, book is your predicate nominative. Predicate nominatives can be compound. So you may have more than one noun or pronoun that follows your linking verb that can be your predicate nominative. For example, some early men of great faith were Job, Enoch, and Noah. So men is your subject, were is your verb. So let's change were into an equal sign. Men equals who? Job, Enoch, and Noah. So all three are predicate nominatives. Predicate nominatives are sometimes called subject complements. So just know if you hear someone say subject complement, they're talking about a predicate nominative. Subject complements always follow linking verbs. So if it is following an action verb, it cannot be a predicate nominative. It's got to be something else. Also, make sure that you are studying that little list. I know all of you have memorized and know your am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been, but you need to keep an eye on those other verbs that can be linking or action, like your taste, look, appear, become, seem, smell. All of those words can also sometimes be linking verbs, so remember that. For your assignment for this page, I want you to do A and B odds on page 127. Exercise A says draw two lines under each linking verb. Draw a circle around the predicate nominatives. And remember, to find a predicate nominative, first find the verb, then ask who or what after the verb. So, for example, Ezra was a ready scribe. We would draw two lines under was, because that's our linking verb. Then we would ask who or what. Ezra is who or what? He is a scribe. So we would circle scribe. And that's how you would do that exercise. Exercise B says draw 2 lines under each linking verb. Draw a circle around the predicate nominatives. 4 of the sentences do not contain a predicate nominative. So since you're just doing odds, that doesn't mean that 4 of your odds are going to not have one. It means for the whole exercise. So you may have 1, you may have 2, I don't know. But you're doing the exact same thing. It's just some of your sentences will not have a predicate nominative. So page 128. Now we're going to talk about objects of prepositions, direct objects, and indirect objects. An object of a preposition is a noun or pronoun that completes a prepositional phrase. So we were talking about that earlier. Your prepositional phrase has your preposition, your object, and any modifiers. So your object is going to be a noun. For example, Chris entered the room and sat down in the first chair. Well, right off the bat, I know that we have a prepositional phrase because I see the word in. So in the first chair is our prepositional phrase, and chair would be your noun object. A direct object is a noun or a pronoun that follows an action verb and receives the action from that verb. It answers the questions whom or what after the verb. So instead of a linking verb and a predicate nominative, you have an action verb and a direct object. They answer the same questions. It just depends on what type of verb you have. So, for example, a good tree bears good fruit. What is our action verb? Bears. Bears is our action verb. So our subject, trees. Trees bear what? Fruit. So fruit would be your direct object. An indirect object is a noun or a pronoun that precedes the direct object and tells to whom or for whom or to what or for what the action of the verb is done. You cannot have an indirect object if you do not have a direct object. So I recommend finding your direct object first and then looking for your indirect object. So the Sunday school superintendent gave Emily an award. First, let's find our verb, gave. Our superintendent gave what or who? Gave an award. And then we're going to ask the question, to whom, for whom, or to what or for what was the award given? It was given to Emily. So Emily would be our indirect object. Also remember that objects of prepositions, direct objects, and indirect objects can all be compound. So you may have more than one. For example, God created the heaven and the earth. What did God create? Heaven and earth. So you have a compound direct object. Make sure to find both parts. Don't leave one of them out. I want you to do exercise A, all. Circle the nouns used as objects of prepositions in the following sentences. You may find it helpful to underline the prepositional phrases first. So I would go through the whole paragraph, underline your prepositional phrases, and then circle the object of that preposition. Exercise B and C, I want you to do all of those as well. Exercise B says circle the direct objects in the following sentences. Find the action verb and ask whom or what after the verb. Remember, a direct object cannot be in a prepositional phrase. So this is one of those times where it's good to be able to pick out your prepositional phrases and say, I'm going to take that out of the sentence and just look at this part. And that way, you know you are not accidentally circling the object of a preposition versus your direct object. And then exercise C, underline the direct objects and circle the indirect objects. All sentences will have both. And then for the last page, just a little bit more, guys, and we'll be done for today. Recognizing objective complements. An objective complement is a noun or an adjective that renames or describes the direct object. The objective complement usually follows the direct object. For example, we elected Scott treasurer. Elected is our verb. We elected who or what? Scott. And then what did we elect Scott? We kind of need something else to finish that sentence. Without treasurer, we don't know what he was elected. So we throw in that objective complement to finish the meaning of the sentence. So we elected Scott treasurer. Treasurer would be your objective complement. Objective complements can also be compound. So Pastor Wilson appointed Mr. Jones music director and assistant youth director. He appointed Mr. Jones music director and assistant youth director. So both of those are your objective complements. Once again, make sure you're reading the whole sentence and you're not leaving part of it out. For this page, I want you to do exercise A, 1 through 5. And that says underline the direct objects and draw a box around the objective complements. And then exercise B, also do 1 through 5. Underline the direct objects, circle the indirect objects, and draw a box around the objective complements. For exercise B, you're doing the same thing as exercise A, except they've thrown some indirect objects in there too. So make sure you're looking out for those. Thanks, guys, and I will see you next lesson.